Let's kick it. Bright morning this morning. Good morning from Crawfordville, Georgia. We just got out of bed. And I had a good night's sleep too. And I learned something about this music that you can play now on your lives. And that is, it's coming right through the system, not through the speakers from my laptop and broadcast to you. So I appreciate Blue telling me that it was too loud, but I listened to it later and it definitely is too loud. So I got it way down today. Good morning, Stephanie. I just got out of bed a little bit. Got my videos. Not too good. It's just too dark, even at the most sensitive setting. Wish you could have made the chat yesterday with Robin. She sends her love to you. She's in a depressed state. You know, I don't let you know when I do these because, first of all, I don't expect you to be up. And secondly, just fucking around. I wasn't even going to do one. I don't even know when I do it, you know what I mean? But I will do one. I've been thinking about doing one maybe Christmas Eve, the most boring day in the world. You know, if you don't have kids or family or something like that, what the fuck do you do Christmas Eve? Unless, of course, you're an artist and you can create a masterpiece and just nod off like this. Cash your check, the taxpayers funded. Like this. This is a picture of a struggling artist. I did pin her down on, she's not quite piping off so much about the artist being killed and murdered now. Oh, Robin. Gotta love her. I will give her credit for this. She's got enough nuts to come up. And most people don't. Hey, Donna, good morning. How are you? I got some other, I wake up generally to about 10 hate messages. Today I only got 5. Well, I go into Starbucks and got a coffee. Hey, here's the deal about that. Like, I do go to places like this. It's, I'm not, if I want to get a coffee and I see you're there, Starbucks, if you just predicated your life on everywhere you went, that those people had to think the way that you did. Life is just so complicated. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of things Starbucks do or support that, I'm not in or out. I don't really care. I don't care about the transgender and even the woke shit. If you're a woke company and I want a coffee and I see you're open and I want to get one, I'm gonna. Because all I want's a coffee. I'm not supporting 14 transgender operations by buying a large coffee. I don't get into it this deep. Everybody doesn't say everything that you dislike or like. You follow me? Everything, it doesn't need to be a liberal democratic controversy just because I don't like something that you believe in. You got that? So when I go into Starbucks, somebody made shitty comments about I was at a woke company I supported. Yeah, I'd if you had 10 places along my route of travel that were 500 miles, there's a chance I could stop into all 10 and I wouldn't believe in anything that they stood for. But you know what? I'm just getting a coffee. So my point is, you liberals that parse every single thing of every second day, you're not all there. Okay? I'm sure I get gas at places that, support woke. It doesn't make me woke. I'm not trying to work there. I'm not buying stock there. I'm just getting it a coffee. at a place that supports gay parades, which I don't have a problem with. Because I don't give a fuck what they do with the money after I pay for their $10 coffee. And besides, I don't have a problem with gay parades. I have a problem paying for it. But if I buy a coffee, you gave me a coffee for my $10, you can do with it what you want. Okay? You can have gay parades. I don't give a fuck. The whole thing here on all this woke bullshit is whether or not I'm going to have to pay for it. Okay? Out of tax dollars. That's all. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Okay? That's that same thing I told Robin. Illegals. You know what I mean? What is an illegal? I talk about the ones that shouldn't be here. She talks about the ones that are here that aren't doing anything wrong. Big difference. Like the Uline company. When they raid a chicken plant and they find out there's 500 undocumented Mexicans working there. Yeah, it's not good, but I can live with that. They're working. They're not out killing people. Big difference. I'm talking about the criminals, not the hard workers that came over here for a better life. I still think they should be vetted and come over here the appropriately way. But if you think I'm looking like them, like I do with this kook of a Venezuelan that murdered this jogging girl, I'm not. Completely different. It's apples and oranges. This is the thing. You crazy liberals need to learn to differentiate between the most egregious example in the world and an incident. They're all not the same. Hello. Follow me. Hey, Pocahontas, how are you? I was thinking of you the other day. Yeah, I don't know why. I think I've been a little depressed too. I was going to go on Prozac, to tell you the truth. Just not that I'm like ruminating about negative thoughts. Yeah, it's true. I did have I said I'm not getting enough done, and I can only link that to like maybe I'm depressed. You know, it sneaks up on you. Before you know it, you're in the shit bucket. Hey, Miss Robinson. And it's very subtle, conniving. It's a Democrat. My depression is a Democrat. It doesn't make sense. Of course it's not. It's a chemical imbalance. It's not a rational thought. But I'm not getting anything done. I'm going to get something done today, I hope. I really am. Fuck yeah. And I think you should celebrate this upcoming year that me never having children. I swear to God, what a disaster that would have been. This makes me think of the admission at a damn carnival show in the 20s. God, who knows what I'd have got. Yeah, it's true. The genes could express themselves, and I could have got something good. But man, I'll tell you, I'm not expecting to get rich when I pull a slot machine handle. Just expecting to get a little more money than I had when I went in. So when you're dealing with life, kids and grandchildren, kids, oh my God, I'm so glad I skipped all that. Oh, we definitely are. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because we are proudly we're going to do that actually. And thank you for bringing that up because January 20th is a special day. And this is like we have been reborn again in a way. I hate to copy anything off these fictitious stories of the Bible, but I will. We have been reborn again. We could have been just over for good. And we're not. It's going to be a new economy. It's going to be hope. I see that Biden too canceled all that student debt. Hey, let me tell you something. If you look at these universities and you just see how much it costs. I always think about that when I go to a hospital. I look at these fantastic buildings and they're climate controlled and they're paying insurance and liability and secretaries and transcription equipment and all the diagnostic tools. I mean, you can just imagine what it costs to have the wheels go around in a hospital. And you're paying educated people good salaries because, they're 34 before they cash their first paycheck. This is expensive, okay? Somebody has to pay for it. And I think the same thing about college. You get all these people that go there, this whole infrastructure supported through, guess what? Tuition, more so than ever, but tax dollars too, if it's a public institution. And then you cancel their debt. Nobody has to pay anything back. Do you know how insane that is? It's just absolutely crazy. This is my whole beef on all this. Too many people taken out of the pie, nobody putting into it. And I'm going to go to my grave thinking that. There are examples, look, widows, untimely deaths, terminal diseases, and you worry about the payments. And believe me, I will gladly donate to tragedies and unfortunate circumstances. But you know what? It's not mandatory. You're not taking it out of my paycheck for the rest of my life over bullshit. This is what we're tired about. Okay? We want to have discretionary donations that if we see something that we deem valid for donation, we're going to give it to them. We just don't want it taken out of our paychecks for the rest of our life for people that shouldn't be here. Simple as that. If I saw a illegal drowning in the Rio Grande as I was driving down the south border of Texas, would I just laugh and think, he's not supposed to be here and keep driving? Hell no. And neither would Stephanie. You guys paint the most ridiculous, unrealistic picture of it. It's apples and oranges. We would go down there and we would save them and show them which way Mexico is. Quit lumping us in one big group of people that we're bad and we don't appreciate human rights and that we want people to die on their way over here, even though they shouldn't. We don't. We just want them to come over here legally, do legal things. And we're not even that mad at the ones that come over here that shouldn't be, that aren't killing people, robbing people, getting free rent, getting free medical, and stripping Medicaid to a penniless joke. You got it? We are interested in human rights. Hey, Jeannie, how are you? Oh, going to work? Well, have a good day at work today. Hey, Salty Girl. Hey, KK, how are you? Good to see you, too. You know, this, I don't really care. I mean, I think you guys know this. You know, some things, like most of the time, I don't care what people think. But I would care if you thought that I was like had an agenda I was pushing that was false. That would bother me. And like right now, if I was vain, or I would take this nuclear reactor of the sun that comes through these giant windows, and I would keep it from making me look like Casper. I mean, this is the brightest light you could ever have in your life. But it doesn't bother me that much. Even though it makes me look like I'm an albino, I'm not. But see, I'm facing towards the light side. The sun's coming up in the east, and I'm facing right into it. I should put a curtain or something. It really doesn't bother me that much. And I have my camouflage on. Hey, Jolie, how you doing? So the point here is like, Stephanie, she's on the same board politically. You know, I'm not even that political of a guy. I'm not, man. I mean, you have these people that get in there, I mean, and you're just along for the ride. We're up for doing the right thing. Oh, but what I was going to say, you know, somebody saw me in the Starbucks thing, and I get a lot of emails unrelated to comments on YouTube. And I think that's because, you know, you can really let me have it on there and not worry about getting a 24 suspension and being able to comment on YouTube because they flagged that as wrong or whatever. And they really had a problem. A couple of these right-wing Christian lunatics, you know, I'm supporting abortion. I do support abortion. I do. I don't think it's murder. And that's it. I mean, I don't think life starts at conception either. I don't believe that either. I don't believe any of that. And if Stephanie was younger and I was younger and we were out drinking, banging in the park. And she was lucky enough to get one of my super sperm to fertilize one of her eggs. I'd want her to, when we sobered up, to cancel the birthday parties. I don't think it's life. No. So you guys get off your high imaginary horse of morality. Leave us alone. We help the poor. We feel bad for the underdog. We donate money to situations that were unfortunate for single mothers whose husbands got killed. Robin, you listen? Listen? Going to work. Now we want to do something about it. Work. New York, listen up. Work. California, listen up. Work. You know what that is? You go there and you do something and you get paid, right? You get a paycheck and you buy your own stuff. You're not a socialist and you don't depend on the government paying for it. You have to pay to go to college. You have to pay for gas in your car. Okay? The whole infrastructure is inundated with people that don't want to work. This is the problem. I'm not talking about disabled people. I'm talking about lazy people that don't want to work, that expected the government to pay their way. Stimulus money. Before we were lucky to get unemployment. Yeah. And there was an incentive for companies not to lay people off when they shouldn't have. There was a penalty. It was a good system. Sometimes the work didn't come in. You couldn't get parts for something, so you laid people off. That's the way it goes. I can live with that. It's a good social program. But the stimulus money to get a bonus for never planning on working and then going to college for free and dipping into Medicaid and using the emergency room as your primary care physician, everybody got sick of it. And on that note, I want to thank all liberals for being yourselves, because if it wasn't for people like Robin who go down with the ship, don't see through the fog, we may not have won. So if it wasn't for people that thought that and supported a candidate like Harris, it's a chance we wouldn't have won. So I thank you for being yourselves. I want you to think about this going into this new year. There's a likely chance, if you're in your 50s and 60s, you will never, ever see another Democratic president again in your life. People have absolutely had it. It's terrible, Kevin. You're exactly right. Hi, Hank. How you doing? Beautiful. Oh, good for you. Yeah. It's nuts, man. There's, and it's never 100%. Do I love every Republican? I don't. I'm not going to be a guy that gets on a bandwagon too and just supports everything just because they support my ideology. Look, Trump. He's got some issues for sure. I tell people all the time, for the last 20 years, I've been voting for the best of the worst. It isn't like the good old days where they were two good guys. I thought Jimmy Carter was a great guy, just a terrible president, and that's what we're trying to avoid. And it's just, and you see Biden pardoned his son. You'd have been all over Trump for doing some stuff like that, except Trump's son works. He works. Why do Republicans have to give Daddy Warbucks the tax break? Tax breaks are legislated. It's the same with bankruptcy. I get into this with people with bankruptcy all the time. Don't want to bring that up about Trump. And bankruptcy is a legal procedure. I've got into it with prosecutors about this before. It isn't like you decide to just go out and buy a bunch of jumbo dildos for your mistress and then bankrupt out of it. Bankruptcy needs to be approved, and signed off by a judge. It's a legal procedure. There are valid reasons for filing bankruptcy. And if they catch you doing it fraudulently, you're going to get charged with it. So tax breaks, it's like the rich don't pay any taxes. Well, they do pay taxes, and they also create a lot of jobs. Robin doesn't like Jeff Bezos anymore because, like I said, the liberals have villainized capitalism. Anybody that makes a profit is the enemy. They jump to these conclusions that the capitalism is bad. It's like the Ford Foundation. You want to start everything over again. Capitalism is how this country was founded. It's okay to make a profit. And these states are figuring it out like, look at Detroit. It's a shell of itself. Companies can't afford to be in business there any longer. It matters. Economics. And all these crazy liberals, none of them almost always have had anything to do with being self-employed. They work government jobs, subsidized jobs. It's not reality. I mean, it's good. You have healthcare clinics, things like that. But if you don't have any idea of how economics play into an economy, macro or micro, and if you've never been self-employed, then you're never going to know what we're talking about, which is what drives the fuel with Stephanie. She worked a lot of jobs. You got 38 federal death row murders. The life sentences. What a guy. Yeah. Now, they all do some fucked up shit at this level. Trump pardoned that fucking Kwame Kilpatrick, that fucking crooked Detroit mayor that single-handedly bankrupted the city. He had about 20 years left on a federal sentence, which you don't get out early for. And I got a problem with that. But if it helped him win the election, which I think it did, you're always trying to get the black vote. There's a bunch of people that think Kwame was just railroaded. The whole thing was fake, and it was the government sending away one successful black guy. That's fucking bullshit. So, just because I'm a right-winger doesn't mean I'm going to believe everything that's sold to you. I don't. He should still be in prison, and he's not. He did the same thing with Blagojevich, that crazy, stupid Mad Magazine looking like ex-governor. Total fucking crook. Pardoned him too. No, I mean, believe me, that's never going to make sense to me. Crazy. They just let a bunch of scumbag killing, murdering dope dealers out of an Oakland, California case. And, you get anything appealed there and you give it to a bunch of liberals. They appealed it because even though they had murdered people and imported, train loads full of dope, the appeal was based on that a homicide detective had mentioned somewhere along the way in a police report or a police investigation that Oakland was a high crime area and it biased to the jury. Yeah, you know what? It is a high crime area. And that bias, what's wrong with that? It's also a fact. And they just let a bunch of these scumbags out so they can go and sell more dope and kill people because the cop told the truth during the course of the investigation. This is the insanity that people are sick of. This is the insanity that we're sick of. Oakland. Go out to Oakland, California. I'd love to buy a week of vacation there. Well, you think he's a traitor? What don't you like about it? You don't like that? The January 6th? Well, look, if you're looking for someone perfect, Kevin, I mean, believe me, there's plenty of things Trump does that I don't like. But, and it all basically comes down, that didn't make you want to vote for Harris, did it? I mean, like I said, we voted for the best of the worst. I mean, he does, but I mean, they do things there that like I just gave you two of them, that Trump did, which is bad. No, it's bad. Yeah, I know. It is. I mean, I think too that when you're at that level and you're getting and you're taking campaign funds. I mean, I'm sure that's blown for all sorts of shit with everybody, for all sorts of reasons other than what it was intended for. And that was one of the examples where they were caught. You pay campaign money for hush money for a ugly, plain Jane lunatic porno movie actress. I mean, I would think that when you get that level in politics, that should be way behind you. And to me, that's just bad. It is bad. But like I said, the best of the worst. That's what I keep telling myself. I mean, there's 20 things Trump's done that I don't agree with, but god damn, that's better than ruining an entire company and trying to stimulate business with $50,000 stipends for lemonade stands to convicted killers that had no clue how to run a business that they never ever planned on paying back. If that isn't worse to you, you know what I mean? The good outweighs the bad. It's like a marriage, Kevin. Kevin, did all the women in your life do exactly what you wanted? Were you completely happy with everything they did? It's no different for any other human relationship, whether it's a president, a bus driver, a dog catcher. It just kind of comes along with the territory. It is pretty bad. I'd agree with you. I mean, really, eat crow over this shit. Now, I just had a little discussion with somebody this morning before I went on about, I'm not an Obama fan at all, but I don't doubt that he got into Harvard Law School, graduated, and was on Harvard Law Review. I mean, if you don't like him, great, but don't tell me that that didn't happen. Okay, you don't traipse around Harvard Law School and be on the Law Review and it's not real. I mean, it's just fucking insane. I don't like Bill Clinton. But Bill Clinton was a smart guy, academically. I don't like the crazy Florida governor, DeSantis, lunatic, but he does have an undergraduate degree from Yale and a law degree from Harvard, and like him or not, that's hard to do. So you can be a terrible politician and a super intelligent person that would make a terrible president. It happens. I mean, how can one be the other? Well, you tell me. It happens. Oh, that's not true, Kevin. He did plenty his first term. He wasn't a joke with COVID. No, he's put great people in office. Look what they're going to do with Mexican drug dealers, such as interest rates, the cost of fuel, and inflation. So did you vote for Harris, Kevin? Did you vote for Harris? You can't have it both ways. I mean, you can hate Trump, yeah, you don't like him, I know that, but the system worked, didn't it? Or do you think this is some kind of rigged election? You don't know where most drugs came from, Kevin. You don't know where most drugs came from. Drugs is a problem. It definitely is, for sure. So did you vote for Harris or not, Kevin? I'm asking you. I want to know this. Yeah, it's fake news. It's true. I forgot where Kevin lives. Probably California. Yeah, I thought he did too, but I wanted him to tell me. And that's okay. Kevin, how much student debt did you have discharged? And stimulus money did you get? Oh, Minnesota. There you go. That makes sense. I thought maybe Washington State. That's all right. I mean, why is that all you could come up with was Harris, Kevin, and Biden? A guy that didn't even know what state he was in most of the time. I mean, is that all you can do? And Kevin, I thank you for being you, just like I thank Robin, because without people like you, you might have been able to come up with a suitable candidate along the way and support someone that actually had some brains. It wasn't a walking, living, breathing puppet. Really, without people like you and Robin, we wouldn't be in the position we're in for January 20th. Kevin, do you work? Let me guess, social worker. You got to work for the government some kind of way, don't you? It's so weird, isn't it, with Washington State? Oh, e-commerce? Okay. So you were happy with the way things were going? Yeah. You were happy? You know, you had a good, who's that lady up there? She's got a Jewish last name. She was, and I was surprised, this didn't go anywhere. But she, you know, places like YouTube are not liable for third-party content. So I can go out and say you're a big motherfucker, and I can tell everybody where you live, and they can burn your house down, and YouTube won't be liable. And that female politician from Minnesota actually went after YouTube for making them accountable and liable for allowing content to be published that could be dangerous to people, and it went nowhere. And it was actually looking good, and she's Jewish, which is even a bigger surprise. You know who I'm talking about? She's a good-looking older woman, black hair. I want to say Roth, but I don't think that's right. Yeah, but even if he didn't do anything about inflation, he's going to do things about a lot of other things. Like defending our borders. Kevin, do you think it's okay? Are you all for the stimulus money and absolutely raping public coffer funds for people that have no intentions of working that shouldn't be here? Well, do me this favor. Let's just keep it simple. How about you just write down what gas costs now, the interest rate, mortgage rates, and the cost of food, and we'll compare notes around June. How about that? I mean, this happens a lot. You just don't like Trump, and I can understand that. So no matter, it's like the taxi cab driver, and he picks somebody up, and he picks up the believer, and he says, I'm going to take you to meet Jesus. The believer doesn't want to go meet Jesus because he doesn't need any more proof. In his heart of hearts, he believed Jesus existed, it is real, and it's just a bunch of a waste of time to go meet him. The non-believer's not going to want to meet Jesus either, because no matter what you tell him, he's not going to believe. He thinks it's all a bunch of bullshit and there's no convincing him otherwise. And you kind of remind me of that. You don't like Trump, maybe some good reasons, some bad, and that's just the way it is. You're an anti-Trumper. I mean, you are, because you don't even like your own candidate, but you dislike Trump even more because of who knows why. That's different than a vested interest in a rational vote for the right candidate. You know, like I said, we voted for the best of the worst. You just hate his guts. He doesn't give a crap. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Tax cuts to the right places, I don't have a problem with. You don't think he's going to stimulate the economy? No, he did great things the first term. You guys were able to come up with a smear campaign and keep from getting in the second time. Kevin, but just on the face of it, I mean, he got in. You don't think anything that he did was right. You got a puppet in, Biden. People had 4 years of him, and they'd had enough. Does that ring any bells? I mean, why did Trump win if what you say is true? I'm fine with tariffs. I'm fine with tariffs. I mean, it's kind of an emergency plan. You know, it's like bottles of water and plywood when a hurricane's coming in. Not the best scenario, but I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing? Oh, you're working today, huh? Now, today, I think the highways are going to be busy. Kevin, why don't you come on up in the chat? Why don't you just talk about this? I want to make sure you're not fucking massaging your fake pecker that was put on at taxpayers' expense. Do you mind? You want to come up and let's talk? I want to make sure I didn't pay for a sex change on you. Now, I'll donate to PayPal because I like you. I'll donate to PayPal, but I'm not going to. This fucking thing. I'm not going to get it taken out of my checks. Oh, here we go. Come on up, Kevin. Grow some fucking balls. I want to make sure you're not fucking robbing with 2 goddamn IDs. Come on up here. Let's discuss this. Grow some nuts. I mean, real nuts. Ones you were born with. Hey, just click on the link. Just click on the link right there. See that you just click right on that link. You can dude yourself up, put a little makeup on, powder, wig. You'll take 3rd place tonight. See, this is what I mean, Kevin. This is just clicking on a link and you're struggling. This is my problem. Just click on that link. Come on up. Let's party. All right. Okay. Take off the plastic handcuffs. I'm going to fill up my coffee. Really gets my fire burning. Yeah, my coffee maker sucks. Oh, yeah. Now, before you come up, Kevin, there's rules here. We want to have rules. It's the holiday season. There's rules here. Hey, Ray. And you're only allowed to call Stephanie and me a motherfucker 3 times. Steph, why don't you come up too and give Kevin both barrels? You don't have to show your face either, Kevin. I would like to see your trophies for winning transgender female impersonator contests in Minneapolis. I'm not really into it, but it is an accomplishment. I'd like to know who you portray in the contests. Celine Dion, Madonna. It's okay. And what kind of costume you wear? We're all for it. Stephanie are always for a good time. We don't mind lifestyles; they don't bother us. Stephanie and I, we don't brag about liking the other sex, but we do. We're not even going to go as far as to say we're normal. Hey, Steph.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Kevin is hiding his transgender trophies for Female Impersonator of the Year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not gonna. He can have his opinion. I'm not gonna get on him. But these people that talk all this shit, they don't want to come up and
No,
talk face to
right?
face.
Yeah, yeah. They
Which
just
is,
they're keyboard warriors.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And nobody can tell me that life was not good here when Trump was in office. I'm living proof. I had more frickin' money.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't believe these people. And especially when you're on a fixed income, I know exactly how much money I've had, Tom, for the last, years.
Well, you tell
And
Kevin. Kevin actually had enough nuts to come up.
hi,
Hi, Kev.
Kevin.
Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Tom.
How you doing, man?
Hey, good.
Pretty good.
Let us have it.
Yeah, I'm just not a Trump guy. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy not to. I think it's. I mean, I voted for him, and it's easy not to like him. I mean, I think it's. There are better examples, but pardon and
I
convicted
think
killer.
what what put it over the edge for me was Jan 6. I think he's a traitor. He lied to the American public. I know all presidents do that, but lying about an election is pretty bad to me.
Yeah, but what about stuffing ballot?
I don't think he has any plans.
Well, what plans?
I think they would have, if they had found any evidence of that, they would have. There would have been evidence of that.
Yeah, what plans did you support that Harris planned on implementing for the economy? This won't last long.
Everybody says the the student loan stuff. I think they make a big deal out of it. I think it was something like $10 billion or something going to college students. You look at how many trillions of dollars we just hand out to these people, like, your Jeff Bezos, your Elon Musks, who pay virtually no taxes because their companies
That's not true.
Lose money.
That's not true.
Oh, Jeff Bezos has went almost a decade paying taxes. He actually took a child tax credit on his income taxes.
Yeah, but tax credits are
He's the
legal.
richest man in the world.
But tax credits are legal means for legitimate deductions. If you did what Jeff Bezos did, you'd be doing it too.
Exactly.
Sure,
I think people.
I agree.
Yeah, I think this country hates the rich people so bad that, I mean, if we were in their position, it would be a different story. That's what America is. To make money, make profit. That's why it's the American dream. Otherwise, let's go to communism where everybody's the same,
I don't hate rich people, Stephanie. I hate the fact that they pay less of their income in taxes than you do.
But they're legitimate deductions.
Well, there's a problem with that then.
How about the jobs they create? Let's talk about Bezos and what he's done to the economy.
I think his company has done great things. I don't think he personally has done great things. I think all the great
started
things.
The company. You think there are more jobs because of him than not?
There are more jobs because of him.
Okay.
But don't you think he also benefits from the public good more? Like,
yeah.
He needs roads. He needs a well-educated populace.
Well, I can tell you this, with regard to roads, at least from the examples I know about, he pays for those in those plants he constructs. He makes the infrastructure better for regional locales. He buys all that stuff. The roads, the lights, the extra shifts for cops.
Okay, sure, regionally.
But it's commerce. Would you just rather have an empty field there and nobody does anything?
No. I think Amazon's a great thing. It employs a lot of people, and he's been well compensated for it.
But he should shouldn't he?
He absolutely should. I only get angry when a guy like that pays less percentage on taxes, then the government turns around and says, "Oh no, we can't afford nice things like healthcare or affordable childcare. Oh, we can't afford that. We can afford to give guys like Jeff Bezos, have them pay 0% taxes for 5-6 years.
Yeah, but Jeff Bezos has done a lot to fuel an economy, and he does pay taxes. And look at the taxes of all the employees that wouldn't be there without him that have paid taxes. I mean, you got a beef with capitalism, don't you?
No, I don't. I love capitalism. I love buying things. I work in e-commerce. I just think that here's what I would say. If I had a perfect world, just make a flat tax on everybody. Flat tax.
No, you won't have any business. Business deserves to be compensated for being here. Look at Ford Motor. Look what happened when they all couldn't compete anymore, like Detroit and Milwaukee. I mean, do you think the economy is doing well?
I think that's a bigger discussion. I don't like the unions. I think that killed a lot of Detroit. I think their diminishing quality going down in their cars killed Detroit.
What do you think? How about the state of Minnesota? Are you happy?
I think it's a pretty good state. We actually rank really high for business. We rank really high for education. We're always like in the top 10 for everything. We had some issues with the George Floyd crap. I didn't agree with all that went down there, but I think it's a pretty good state overall, except for the crappy weather.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steph.
No, I was just going to, Tom, I was going to tell Jeff, my father was from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. We used to go every summer. We'd always go back there and visit. Yeah. I just threw that in there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm from a town called Mankato. It's about an hour
I've been there
south
before.
of,
I've been there before. They got a big, isn't Paul Bunyan there? The Paul Bunyan statue?
No, that's Brainerd. That's a little ways up north.
There's something in Mankato, though, they're known for.
We're famous. We had the largest mass execution in U.S. history. In the Civil War times, a little bit after, we hung all the 38 Indians here after there was an Indian uprising in the 1860s. Wow. There was going to be more of them, but Abraham Lincoln pardoned about 100 of them.
Well, I thought, I don't even remember that. I don't remember reading about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Indians now, this is going to speak volumes about you, and I'm curious. How do you feel the Indians have been treated overall, but in a state, let's say, like Minnesota?
Oh boy, overall, these were their lands. It's a tough, I look at a lot of the reservations here, though, and they're all like third world countries. They're terrible. I don't know why anybody would want to live there. It's terrible. And then we've got a big Mystic Lake casino, which is about right outside, and it's actually the richest Indian tribe in the entire U.S. They get a $7,000 check just for being a member every month.
But that was really. But that whole impetus for that was a way Ronald Reagan's plan to get them off social welfare. But in a legal way, you gave them a chance to, fund themselves with sovereign nations. If you think it was their lands originally, isn't that kind of the least they could have done? So what?
Yeah, I don't really know the answer on that. It's 150 years ago. I don't know how we make that right towards those people, to be honest with you. Really believe in, some people some people on the left, are actually talking like giving the lands back. I think that's insane.
Why? I think that, here's the problem I have, is those are sovereign nations, and essentially it's a lease. And, the land they've given these Indians, by and large, everywhere, isn't worth shit. So if you're giving them a sovereign nation and they're having 100% exclusive use of it, why not give it to them anyway? They can't get loans. They can't start businesses because they're basically on a lease. And, really their beef should have been against the British, not us. Because, I just, if you really feel that way, and I do too, I think they ought to give them their lands back. They're basically like redheaded stepchildren. I can't figure out the third world country thing, and that's consistent everywhere, not just in the United States, but in Canada. And I think it's kind of a deal where be careful what you wish for. It sounded good at the time, but yeah, if you were Native American, now they're referring to themselves as First Nations. The worst thing you could do I think, you're trying to protect your culture, is to accept free rent, and then they got you for good forever. But you don't know that going into it. But the property that they're on now,
no, I agree with that.
It isn't like they're giving them prime real estate. They've been suppressed. And it's all under the ruse of giving them a place to live, and that's unfair. And if you look, like you said, third world countries, that's kind of true. I know females in Native American populations have a 10 times chance of getting raped and murdered as they do in the outside world. That's nuts.
Yeah.
They have really no infrastructure. That's a problem when these young Native American people run away, because the other jurisdictions outside of the reservation really don't have any authority. Crazy.
So the solve, you think, is giving that land back instead of leasing?
It's a start. I would. Legally, we did what we were able to do. And really, in a fucked up way, they're lucky they got what they got. But if you're trying to make things right, this is not working. And even if you just argued it from an economic standpoint, the Native Americans, even in their sovereign nation reservations, I say the same thing about drug-addicted prostitutes. Look, you're not getting out of paying for this. Understand that from the beginning. And you see, she's out on the street, you feel bad for them. Yeah, I do too. But they cost the system just a shit ton of money. Medicaid in Native Americans. So if that's the truth, and you just wanted to argue it from an economic standpoint, let's just buckle up, get in, and start over, because you're not getting out of paying for this. And if you come from like what you say, and I agree, a third world nation, what fucking good does free tuition do you? You're a shitty student. Yeah, I feel bad for these people. It's just like it's the same thing. It's a half notch above slavery.
I'd agree with that.
And I just
Terrible places,
it's like, I had pit bulls at one time in my life. And I thought, well, geez, I did the same thing with birds. I bred tropical birds for a long time. And I thought, well, I'm just going to be a good, ethical guy that, does the right thing. And yeah, it's a fucking pipe dream, man. It's the same thing with owning pit bulls. I wanted to breed those because I thought good dogs came from until I found out that 95% of the people that wanted to buy them weren't people that I wanted to associate with. Just the way it is. So I quit doing that too. So a lot of time, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But I think it's just time to ante up. There are bigger things to do, but this is just not unfair. Like Bible theory, with knowledge comes accountability. You can't claim ignorance. And I just don't think the data is there that this is not working. And you're not giving them prime real estate anyway.
I hear that. Yep. Yep. I hear that.
But you live in a state, and my guess would be that you're pretty interested in support social causes. So there's a part of you that,
yeah, sure.
I mean, but you live in a state that has egregious examples of the ones you just pointed out at the beginning when we talked, of the way they've treated Native Americans. It's fucked up.
Fair.
You know, and that's your state.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, you can't blame that on Florida. So if you look at social mores and examples of egregious behavior, even though you hate Trump, you also reside in a place that's done some pretty fucked up shit.
Sure. I'm not a bleeding heart Democrat. I'm dependent on the issues. I'm not totally anti-capitalist.
Now you know this is how trials go. But what's your take on the George Floyd thing? Are you a guy that's electing prosecutors and their primary interest is going around trying to charge police officers for doing their jobs? How about these people just put your fucking hands behind your back like you're supposed to, get handcuffed, and go to jail?
I don't want to say no comment, but yeah, I think I on that one. Are by a lot of people. I would agree with you there, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all totally against police brutality. I am. I really am.
Yeah.
But there are examples under certain instances where these cops didn't go out trying to murder people and ruin their fucking lives. You know, same thing with the guy that 100%. Left the titty bar drunk and got in a head on. He was just out having a good time. He's irresponsible, and he killed 2 people by getting on but he didn't have the intent to do that. He should be punished for it. But, you know, we've got one of those in Augusta, Georgia. This guy ran on a platform. He loves prosecuting police officers. And they're like that in Michigan, too. They got a state police officer now that was trying to track down, arrest some fucking dirtbag. You know, you can't use their criminal record, because if you use their criminal record, everybody would understand that the cop was doing his job. So that's not allowed in trial. They've got a state trooper there now that hit a guy with his goddamn cop car who died, that was an escaped fucking felon. Now he's been charged with murder too. I mean, whatever happened to governmental immunity? You can't tell me these police officers with wives and kids are going out looking to murder people, and in the course of doing their job, unintentionally killed someone, should be charged with murder. Is fucking nuts.
I think, and this is kind of where the lefty in me comes out, though, I think one of the major things that kind of underlies this issue that nobody really wants to talk about is the guns. How armed and loaded we are with guns on the streets. This is causing your cops to get itchy trigger fingers, paranoid, acting like they're in Iraq everywhere they go.
You must be talking about Minneapolis.
You're going to have trouble with that.
Are you talking about Minneapolis?
Yeah, maybe you could say that. You could maybe say, I'm talking about America too.
Now, I'm not a gun guy either. Don't have an interest in them. Had some, sold them. Don't like shooting them.
Sure.
I got one here that somebody gave me. I mean, I'm just not into guns. But, you know, if you look at a place like Chicago, that's another myth, by the way. I mean, they say that, but it's kind of true. I mean, if you're a law-abiding citizen that lives in Chicago with crazy, nutty, ridiculous crime, and you want to have a gun there, you should be able to have one. But they make it so difficult for someone without a criminal record that works to have one. But do you think crooks give a fuck about a concealed weapon permit? They don't. So in the real world, what ends up happening is all the crazy, crooked people that plan on robbing you have a gun, and they know that you probably don't because you work and you don't have a criminal record. That doesn't seem right. You would agree that people have the right to protect themselves, don't you?
I would agree that they have to protect themselves, yes.
Okay. And you wouldn't probably, you'd put a gun over a slingshot if someone was coming in to try and murder you while you were sleeping. mean, so you blame it on guns?
I just think I don't think it's that hard to get a gun, even if you are a law-abiding citizen. There's 400 million guns on the streets.
What, do you want to take them off?
I would say, yeah. I'd say if you want a little gun, you get a little 6-shooter. That's fine. Sure.
So you don't.
I don't
You
think
probably
you need an
sounds like
AR-15.
you don't like
I don't
assault
even-
rifles. You don't like assault rifles like AK-47.
Assault rifles is a big issue. Assault
Yeah,
rifles
I would
is a big
agree with
issue.
that. I would agree with that.
I even think that I would actually say that I think handguns should require more stringent regulations.
It is pretty stringent. I mean, if you don't have a criminal record and you want to protect yourself, I mean, what more do you need? And what's your suggestion to this?
Statistically, man, if you have a gun, you are many, many more times likely either using it on your family or yourself than you are stopping a crime. That's where we're at. So when do we got to recognize these facts? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if that was true, then I mean, we use guns in the military, we use guns with police officers. I mean, I don't know if that statistic is true.
Who are highly trained,
Yeah, highly trained. So you're not a right to bear arms.
If we're gonna train, I think if you want a little 6-shooter or a musket, yeah, go ahead as a hobbyist.
Yeah, so you think you should be able to have if you wanted like a 357 Magnum or something like that, you just don't want like machine guns and AK-47s? Is it the people killing the people or the guns killing the people? I mean, guns in and of themselves.
That's a good question. I mean, we know. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's look at it this way. What, 93,000 deaths by guns? About half of them are suicide. I think in the UK there are about 4 of them every year. So what's the difference? Is America really does it have that much more crime? Does it have that much more mental illness than them? Maybe. I don't know. Where's the difference?
Yeah, well, you don't need a gun to commit suicide.
You don't, but it's very effective.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true.
It's more effective than, say, pills.
But how about the person that you think it's okay to have a 6-shooter? I mean, you act like there's a possibility that everybody that has a gun is going to kill themselves or a family member, and that's just not true. There's plenty of people alive that wouldn't be otherwise if they didn't have one. Because you're not taking away the gun from the crook. He doesn't care about any of this. And that's what people are worried about. Crime's high. And yeah, you can argue that, it's because they have availability to the guns, but that's different than someone like Stephanie having one and protecting herself as a single female in Seattle.
Exactly.
I think those are all valid points. I guess I just always go back to why is America the only place with this problem? Except
it's the most developed.
Yeah.
It's the most developed country. Like things it's a big, huge place. It's not like you're Singapore, a much smaller place. Or Germany's really strict on a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, with success comes along things that aren't so successful, and maybe that's one of them. You're right.
Mhm.
It's a violent, but if you look at crime, everything's going to like gated communities. Which is why Hilton Head's so popular. Because if you worked and you had some money and you got a wife and kids, you know that your wife can go out and walk along the beach and not get gang raped. And you know what I mean? It's just, this is the way it's going. That's a good question. That's a big, giant question of why. And I think a lot of it, I do think, is because the middle class is disappearing because it's hard to compete here and pay for labor here which is why I'm a supporter of the tariffs. I mean, you have to do something. You can't have it both ways. People complain about the chains and they want mom and pop stores, although they drive right by them to get a better price. What people say and what they do are different. My sister was the first single owner female in McDonald's franchises, and she learned early on that, everybody that, they were on McDonald's ass despite doing a lot of good things. All you hear is the bad. And what people say they want to eat and what they really eat are big differences. So it's hard to, determine sometimes, fact from fiction on what really happens. You know what I mean? What do you think about abortion?
I'm pro-choice.
Okay, and how about the death penalty?
Death penalty? Honestly, I'm kind of a pacifist on that. I think, honestly, leave it up to the family of the victim.
And how about taxpayers paying for transgender surgeries to prisoners?
To prison? Yeah, I'm against that. I would be against that. How much
You
does that
better
actually
say
happen?
that.
Why are you against it, though? Why are you against it, though? Why are you against it?
Why am I against it?
Yeah.
I don't think we should have any elective surgeries for any prisoners, I guess.
Okay.
Now, I guess you could say that, transgender surgery is a medical necessity. Some people would argue that, but I don't agree.
Do you think there's any logic to when it gets down and you need votes that you're looking for anything you can get anywhere? And if you're going to get 1 million people that are for that, why not? I mean, it ends up forcing you, painting you into a corner to agree and support things that you really don't believe in.
I agree.
And I think that's on both sides. I agree with you. I agree.
I think Trump. I think Harris. Had the wrong message. She didn't address the economic question, and that's what people. She didn't address immigration and economics, and that's what was on people's mind this year. And Democrats totally failed to come up with a meaningful answer to that. I agree.
Yeah. Now Jeff works in Pennsylvania, and he said that his company had more work than ever. Jeff, I always forget to ask you: Are you a unionized shop out there? You're not a big union fan, are you, John? John, you're not a union supporter, are you? Jeff, are you a union supporter at all? Kevin, are you? You don't like unions, or you do, or you don't?
Generally, I don't. They might have their place.
Yeah. And what is it you don't like about them? You think that they negotiate inflated wages people don't deserve, or?
100%. They've killed manufacturing, I think, in some ways.
No, the liberals have killed manufacturing.
Well, you could say unions at one point and liberals were the same thing.
Yeah, that's all changed, though. That's all up in the air, too. Yeah, that's how it used to be. So you say that Minnesota is like doing okay, but it isn't probably for manufacturing, is it? It's probably like stuff like you do, e-commerce. It's globalization. You're
correct.
Part of the network of the whole world.
Yep.
And that e-commerce, what is that? I think what is that exactly? Like drop shipping or something?
Yeah, I work for a company that actually we own a few websites, a few retail websites.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't ever say it on here.
No.
Fucking
and we also sell on Amazon.com. So.
And how's that? And where are they based out of?
In Mankato here.
Oh, good. And how's that going for them?
Really, really well. When I started, there was 34 employees. This was about 10 years ago. We're now up to about 300 employees. We did about $250 million last year. So very good business.
And is this just hard workers or some smart Jew from New York that moved there?
He's a pretty smart guy. We got in it early, you know, on the internet. Well, let's sell things on the internet. Somebody had the bright idea of doing that, and
That's interesting.
yeah.
And so you guys got to the guy that's running that thing had to hit the panic button with his tariffs thing, didn't he? He can't sleep at night now.
Yep, we deal with
Yeah,
that.
so did Walmart. So did Walmart, which, you know, I feel
Yeah.
bad for you, you know, yeah, but like in the
Yep.
big picture, you know, vast numbers overall. Yeah, I get now why. Yeah, this wouldn't be a good time for e-commerce.
I guess Trump rolled out his numbers, though. I guess, a loose economic plan, though, with tariffs. I guess it's only going to be another 10% on China, the existing tariffs, and then 25% in Canada and 25% Mexico.
It's that much,
So,
huh?
I mean, that's what he's saying so far. I
Yeah.
guess I assume the Canada and Mexico thing is really, well, Canada's got to be an energy play. So it's more profitable to, you know,
Speaking of
do the oil
energy
thing
play,
in the US.
speaking of energy play, how do you feel about Enbridge? Yeah, that's right, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
see.
good luck to you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
We do
wondering on
most
this.
of our business.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. You
We
go ahead.
do a lot of business with China. So yeah, we're watching that closely. I actually deal in like pricing of our products. So basically for every dollar it costs to bring something over from China, every dollar more, you know, like through tariffs, I
Yeah.
basically need to increase our pricing by $2 just to keep the same profit percentage.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I can see why you're
So
concerned.
yeah.
But probably part of the possible disdain for you and unions is they're trying to keep the work at home and manufactured here, and you're getting it wherever you can to sell for a profit.
Mm-hmm.
And that eventually this is a problem.
Isn't that capitalism though? Are you against
Yeah,
capitalism?
well, it is capitalism. No, you're exactly right. Now, what's your beef with Elon Musk?
I think
He's no longer a liberal?
yeah, sure. I think,
Hey, Mark.
you know, I think he's courted Donald Trump to get things that he wants.
They all
I think
have.
he found
They all been down to
oh yeah,
Mar-a-Lago.
sure. I think he found a useful idiot. I think it's interesting now that, you know, his business was heavily subsidized by the American people. He bailed out and moved his stuff to Texas or wherever. Doesn't pay any taxes. I guess
He
that's
pays
my beef
taxes.
with Elon.
So, are you an electric car guy?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
You do. I bet you don't think it's a good thing on a cold day in Minnesota.
I know a few people that drive them and don't.
Yeah, not very far. Not with the heater on.
True.
And so you think he's a traitor? This is politics. You know, Bezos has been down to Mar-a-Lago, and so is Zuckerberg. Now you got to be you got to have a special place in your heart for Zuckerberg because he spent over $400 million the first time censoring people that didn't agree with his mantra on a social media platform, and Google's done the same thing themselves. Good try, but it didn't work. He was just down to Mar-a-Lago too. I mean, if you're a businessman, you know, I'm hoping Trump realizes that, you know, why not have these guys on board? But you're running out of heroes, I bet you, aren't you?
A little bit.
Yeah. But when in Rome, and it's kind of like done a deal like that. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are going to do about that deal. Now your bias, subjective, you can't help it based on where you work. But how do you, aside from your job, reconcile getting things from a communist country with a low labor rate and expecting people in your own neighborhood to be unable to compete because of what you already said you didn't like, unions. Is that your just support of like a global capitalism?
I think that fight has already come and gone 40 years ago. I think manufacturing has gone, and I don't think it's coming back. I'd rather take all the success we have from that and give people new jobs. The lefty in me says take some of that success we've had and profits we've had and set up some social safety nets, healthcare,
Oh, so you believe in free
investment.
healthcare? You believe in free
I
healthcare?
do. I do.
Why don't you move to Canada then? If you believe
I
in
don't know how
that,
long
then
does it take to be a citizen?
you also believe in 50% income tax rates for the middle class because somebody's got to pay for this.
I agree. The thing is with healthcare, we're already paying for it. Unless you're extremely healthy, which someday everybody won't be.
Yeah, but I mean, now Canada is not a socialist country, but they do have socialized medicine. You think that's the way to go?
Yeah. I think get rid of the middleman, all this privatized insurance. I think just take it out of my paycheck every month like everybody else. I think Medicare for all is the answer. I think the whole system is effed.
Steph?
What?
Stephanie worked 3 jobs, 2 and 3 jobs her whole life and has less benefits that someone that snuck over here illegally got in New York. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
So you can understand, the people that need it the most that were here. I mean, what's the fix? What's the fix for that? You do believe in vetting. You do believe there should be a mechanism for a legal protocol on being able to come here and live, right?
Yep, and I think that's totally what needs to be addressed. Totally what we need to be working on, how we vet these people, reform of the legalization process. So far, neither candidate I've seen or either side, Democrat, Republicans, have had really an answer for what to do with the legal side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Trump has some plan to kick out all the illegal immigrants. He hasn't told us how, and that he's not sure. He says, well, maybe not all of them, but just the bad ones. So
Well,
I
that
don't know.
sounds good. I don't have a problem. I mean, in a perfect world, everybody'd be vetted in here, and I don't really have too big of a problem with illegal immigrants that don't commit crimes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good, but I mean, who's shitting who? I mean, just go to a chicken plant or a cherry picking thing at the end of the summer in Traverse City. I mean, we're fucked without these people, even though they shouldn't be.
Oh yeah. I
But
think
that's
of
the
what our
price you pay. And if all you got to do is even here, cotton, all this shit, peanuts, pecans, just go to Walmart at the end of a payday and it's filled with a line of Mexicans sending the money back, not contributing to Social Security. Sure. I can even live with that because these people aren't taking jobs away from anybody here. It's the free rent and the free medical that piss me off because I know how cost prohibitive that is. How does your company work medical, by the way? Is it shitty like everywhere else, a $5,000 deductible and a 20% copay no matter what?
Yeah, it's not great.
Gotcha.
Not great.
And does this guy that started this company, does he live locally?
Yeah, he does.
Is he just like a super smart guy or shitluck or what?
Yeah, he's usually the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, really? Is that pretty apparent when you hear him speak?
Well, it's interesting. He's always, sounds like I'm kissing ass right now, but it's the truth. He's always got another alternate way of looking at solving a problem, and his brain is constantly thinking on how to turn $1 into $2. That's his whole life.
Is this guy Jewish?
He's a smart dude.
Is he Jewish?
No.
Unbelievable.
Tom, there are smart people that aren't Jews. Okay,
Yeah,
Tom?
all right.
Come on.
You forced my
Okay.
hand.
Well,
Is he educated?
yeah, college.
Like good
4 years.
places? That's it.
Not really.
Good for
He
him.
comes from
Wow.
a very, and now you're going to ask if he's Jewish again, but he comes from a very entrepreneurial family.
And he's not Jewish. Wow, this guy's my hero. Are they hiring?
We hire during our temporary season, our busy season. We bring on about 2,000 temporary workers every year.
You hear that,
It's
Stephanie?
crazy.
You hear that, Steph? They hire temporary workers. When is that? Like around Christmas and stuff?
Yep. Q4.
Every year?
Every year.
What do you do? I bet you give them 1099s, don't you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an American success story.
It is. Yeah, he started selling things out of his closet, and now we've got 2 warehouses, one in town here and one in Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. That's awesome. That's where you ought to go to. That's a beautiful place to live. Speaking of the closet, is he in the closet?
Now he's married, I guess.
Oh, thank God. Well, this is just sounding
Married
like
with kids.
Just sounding like a Disney story. Well, not really, because he's married to a woman, I'm presuming. Good for him. Why Kentucky? I tell you why. Low labor rates.
Well, low labor rates and
You want to get away from those Minnesota unions.
Distribution.
Interesting.
East Coast
Wow.
distribution. We can be anywhere in like 2 days. We can ship anywhere from Miami to Maine in 2 days. So
That's impressive. Wow.
it's a lot cheaper. We're
So
thinking
you guys,
about opening a West.
So you probably don't think the YouTube videos of the containers coming off the ships is very funny.
Nope.
You know, in those big storms.
It was worse. It was terrible during the COVID. Shipping containers.
Oh, I bet. I'll bet it was.
Oh man. Yeah, I think normally I don't quote me on these, but it's like 15,000 usually to ship a shipping container. But during COVID, it got up to about $60,000-$70,000 just to ship a shipping container. Yeah.
Now I'll tell you who I bet's really worried. These Dollar Generals and dollar stores. They're going to have to take those signs, and it's going to need to be $2. It's just the way it is, isn't it?
I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something. So yeah, well, good luck to you, man, because this is not good news for you. And this tariff thing, I know how it works, like with a place like yours, but how about if I order something from China? Are they going to tag that on in another line item on my eBay checkout? A tariff is this for individuals or just companies?
Good question. I don't know how that is handled, really. You'll probably just get away with it just with the like normal shipping rates.
Yeah.
Say if you're just buying single items.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you got a chance to go over? Would you consider yourself like a buyer there or just an expediter?
I'm a buyer. Yep.
Have you got a chance to go over there yet?
I have not. We have a production team who goes over there. Not as much, honestly, since the pandemic, but no, we've got kind of product development team that goes over there and does all that.
Huh. Do you ever like talk to them about their experience over there? I'm just wondering. Man, I'd love to go over there. I know a guy that flew.
I would too.
747s, 2 trips a month to Beijing.
Yeah.
For like 10 years. They're not flying the same. He's retired now. But he said he got some of the best blowjobs of his life over there for $8. I knew right then I wanted to visit Beijing someday. Do you find them? Who's doing the translation there between them and you, or they got smart now and they speak better English than you do?
Oh, I know a lot of them over there speak English. It's pretty common over there now.
Yeah. Is there any other place where you've tested the water for lower prices, or they just got the manufacturing down so good nobody can compete with them?
So once the tariffs started, we started. There's a lot of people are moving to Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
I know that. Problem with that is, so we won't have to pay tariffs on that, but the quality is much lower there. They're not
Yeah,
up
they
to
do that with a
par
lot of generic
with China
medications
yet.
too. Generic medications too.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
And there's Mexico. You know, uh, Problem with that is a lot of the stuff. If okay, we can manufacture things in Mexico, but a lot of the stuff that we manufacture with the raw materials are still coming from China. So
gotcha. Now I know that the Mexico thing really didn't work out with the car companies like they thought it would. That it's still a corrupt, quasi third world country, and all sorts of bullshit comes along with that. I know a guy that
yeah,
owned a
they got
company, sold it,
problems.
and he was flying a private jet down to a Cabo or one of those fucking places. And depending on who was working at the airport when you landed, it may be 1,000 to land there, and it may be 10,000. And when you're dealing with that kind of stuff, it's like not stable. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, are you just have your fingers crossed, or is this talked about at the company about like, well, let's just wait and see? I mean, because if everybody that's selling what you sell, universally, you would all have the same problem in this. It's not just like it's you and not them. So maybe it's not going to be as disastrous if everybody goes up at the same time. But there's always somebody out there that's going to be dumb enough to lower their price until everybody goes out of business, including them. And I
Right.
hope it doesn't
Right.
happen.
We'll
Happen.
see.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, I
And
got 10%
like
right now, so that's not a deal breaker.
like Dollar Store and Dollar General, would you consider, based on your experience, those are well-run companies on the way they've negotiated contracts and be able to retail over here?
I can't comment on that. I'm not really sure. I don't know
Uh,
business. Uh,
yeah. Now, did you have a degree that kind of goes along with e-commerce, or you just got lucky?
yeah, I've got a degree in economics, actually.
Oh, really? Where'd you go? Did you go to Minnesota? University of
Yeah.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
How was that
Yep.
experience?
Yep. It's good. It's a good school. Yeah,
Huh.
it's a good school.
And did you ever consider grad school?
Uh a little bit. I'd consider maybe like an MBA or something if I ever needed it. But once you're talking about like a master's in economics or a master's in finance, that gets to be super heavy duty mathematical stuff. That's a little beyond my brain.
Yeah, I when I lived in Chicago, um, there were rich kids that lived there. Daly's kid actually was my neighbor for about a year. Not that that means anything, but there were kids there that
Wow.
were going to the University of Chicago. And I remember two were in over the years that I lived there were in master's programs on pricing. We talked about pricing earlier, and I mean there were graduate degrees in pricing. It sounds stupid, but the stuff that's on both sides of the aisle as you check out at Walmart. And like you say,
Yep.
pricing is very complex and difficult. I mean, you need smart people determining what you're going to sell something for, and that's a hard job.
Mhm.
You
It
know,
is.
I mean,
Can get
yeah.
really technical.
Yeah, and there I read like a book one time a long time ago where like if you're I'll give you an example. And one of the examples they gave was like on Norton virus protection. And you got a billion people that ordered it if it was $1.99 a month, and a half a billion people that ordered it if it was 2 cents more. That kind of thing. And I would imagine now with numbers they're
Yep.
crunching that this is easier to figure out now than it used to be. But pricing is very interesting, you know?
It
And I'm
is.
sure,
It is.
are you guys using AI
Different.
yet for that? Are you guys using AI yet to help you?
Uh, Not pricing pricing yet to do like product descriptions.
Yeah.
Can actually, we actually tried to utilize some robotics for our distribution warehouse. It didn't go
Yeah.
so well. So
Interesting.
we'll see what's the future for that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you seem like a good guy. See, it's possible to have a civil conversation about
I think so.
people that think about different things. You know, I'm from Detroit, Uniontown. I tried those
Absolutely.
jobs early on and just didn't like them. So you
Sure.
work out of your home, I'm assuming.
I work out of the home 3 days a week. I go in the office twice a week.
Yeah. Now, do you find they've done studies on that too? Like I learned in being self-employed my whole life that there's something to be said for going somewhere and socializing with people as opposed to avoiding a snowstorm and not leaving the house. What's your take on that? Would you rather just sit home all the time, or do you like going to the office? And do you notice a difference between the two?
Yeah, I like going to the office actually. I like the flexibility of working home. It's nice to say, oh, I can take my lunch when I want. I can, maybe run down to the post office if I need to, do something. But you definitely lose out on the interaction, the
Yeah,
collaboration. I
yeah,
think your company loses a little bit of the culture. Your company
yeah,
loses a little bit of its culture.
yeah. Now, if you decided, do you have to sign a
So,
non-compete there?
yeah, I did when I first started.
Yeah, you know,
But
those things usually get
if I
blown
went
out of the
to,
water
yeah,
if,
if
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 they're
it would
litigated.
only
There
be
has
a
to be a
problem if I
time and a
went to,
distance.
if, it would only be a problem if I went to like a very direct competitor,
Oh, gotcha.
very, very direct.
Yeah. So you're happy working there.
Yeah, pretty happy. Yeah,
Good for you. Shit, that's
pretty
great,
happy.
man. Well, I wish you the best of luck in the future because you know, it's uncharted waters now.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. And I don't
I got to
think that.
sign off. I got to get some work done a little bit.
Oh, you're working today. Okay. Well, hey,
No,
happy
I got to work in
holidays.
the afternoon a little bit.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. Happy
Thanks for
holidays.
coming
Nice
on.
talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Yeah. You too. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
Well, there you have it, you guys. That was a nice conversation. See, you don't just because we think about different things, uh, it doesn't mean we can't have a civil conversation. John, why don't you come up? Ray, you want to come up? Grow some balls, guys. Mark, you want to come up? Canadian. Shit, this guy loves your health insurance model, Mark. No elective surgery, though. Can't do that. Yeah, he's a good guy. Nice guy. I like him. And he's from a successful local homegrown company like the old days. It's great. Enbridge, Enbridge, that's a big political hot potato in Michigan. That's who runs the oil line under the Straits of Mackinac that all the hairy leg lesbians protest over all year long. And speaking of hairy leg lesbians, the Attorney General from Michigan, Dana Nessel, she's a very proud lesbian. I say all the time I love lesbians, especially when I watch them on Pornhub and Spank Bang. So I like them there. It's not reality because it's two feminine looking women on the porn. It's not one that looks like she's the home run derby queen, which of course nobody would watch. But Enbridge has got a huge presence in Minnesota. And I want to say this is old news, put $3 billion or something into Enbridge. I don't know if their American headquarters are in Minneapolis, but they're big there. They can do whatever they want. They could go out and dump 55-gallon drums of crude oil on all the ducks swimming in the local park, and they couldn't do shit. I mean, these people got them by the balls there in that area. Money rules. And they're still thinking about, they're thinking of the crazy liberals think of the worst possible scenario if the space shuttle crashed under the bridge and hit the pipeline. That's one thing I want to clarify too. These crazy liberals, they think that anybody that's a right winger hates the environment and we're not concerned about wildlife and Mother Nature, which is just false. These crazy Michigan liberals think that Republicans are looking for used diving bells on eBay and want to go down with an underwater chainsaw and cut the crude oil line in half just to destroy the economy, which is just absolutely false. The difference between the right wingers and the lefts is that the right wingers just secretly fund things. They love Mother Nature too. So get off your high horses. It's bullshit. It's not true. And they make all sorts of donations to things for wildlife and Mother Nature. We love it. We want it to stay nice. We don't want it contaminated with crude oil. Quit making up lies and publicizing that you're better than we are, because you're not. Well, you guys have a good day today. This is definitely a nice surprise. Have Stephanie up here. She's just, right now, she had to sign off. I sent her a French tickler early. She's gotten back on her hormones, and she's ringing in the holiday on a high note. John, when are you going to have enough nuts to come up here, huh? Want to make sure you're a real person, not some fucking bot or some Russian fucking spy starting trouble over here with our political agendas. We don't have an agenda. We just want police to be able to do their jobs, not get arrested for putting the handcuffs on too tight of child rapists and getting sued and losing their jobs later and working at dollar store for the rest of their life, even though they were just doing their job. We're not trying to cancel police departments. We think you should be able to have a gun at home to protect yourself, because all the people that are going to rob you have one, and they don't have a concealed weapon permit. They could care less about it because they're criminals who have no regard for the law, and you shouldn't be at a disadvantage for wanting to protect yourself and your family. And yeah, guns have a downside. They also have a big upside, which hopefully you don't get a chance to experience someday when someone's trying to break into your home. Oh, Enbridge, yeah, they're always, yeah. And all the crazy liberals that I know in Michigan, they're all up there and they hate Enbridge, but yet they'll take, they got gas guzzling vehicles. They don't have solar panels on their roof. There's no wind turbine. They're not running a water wheel. They're saying one thing and doing another. And they have appreciated and utilized all the things that capitalism can bring to you, big business. It's not mom and pop that's making your internet work, that manufactured your laptop, or that manufactured your gas guzzling vehicle. It's for the people you protest against. And if you keep doing that, one of these days they're not going to be here. Okay? Nobody wants to ride around in a horse and buggy now in January, including you. We're for the economy. I wish guys like Kevin good luck. Yeah. So you guys have a good day today. Maybe I'll come on later tonight. Maybe I won't. Depends. I'm going to try and actually get something done today, which will be new. Mark, you party on. Yeah, home gas provider. Yeah, that's that line goes under Michigan, comes over to Canada. It's a home gas provider. Yeah, it's like a mega huge company. But, if you had all the crazy liberals, they want to put a solar panel on the roof. And, it's just fucking pipe dream. It's crazy. Mark, are you having some lives coming up? Are you going to be having some? Going to be partying on? Hey, Riggs, how you doing? Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was good. It was nice having him up here. Riggs, I hope you come up someday too. We do implement rules, as I'd said at the beginning, and that is that if you don't agree and you don't have the same political ideology as someone that you don't agree with, the rules are you can only call them a dumb motherfucker 3 times. And then we're going to have to take you off the chat. That's it. So we have rules. and we implement them. And today we didn't use that. No name calling. Yeah, thank you, Riggs, for coming on. Appreciate it. Oh, Boxing Day. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll try and get on there. Yeah, I won't say anything, but I'll watch, that's for sure. So take care, you guys. Party on. And have a good day. And thanks for coming on. Oh, you too. Thanks, Ray. Right, take care, guys.